This is Dr. Quinlan with Quinlan Chiropractic Clinic from Coppell, Texas, and you're listening to the Dunham Business Radio Show.
Hi there, this is Lori Dunham with Dunham Business Radio. We won the 2019 Gray Bowl Show of the Year. We also got an award for community service, and I can't thank you enough for all of your support. We are on the next level, and we're going higher, and I can't do it without you, and I'm so grateful. Thank you so much, and stay tuned in.
Live from Arlington, Texas, it's the Dunham Business Radio Show. And here's your host, Lori Dunham.
I am your host, Lori Dunham. My goodness, the guest we have tonight is going to knock your socks off. I'm super excited about it. Please, there's still plenty of time to ping your friends, let them know that we are here and we have an amazing guest with us tonight. So, oh gosh, I just can't even say all the words, right? Well, I'll introduce him here in just a minute, but I have given an opportunity to a number of people around the world to actually come on and co-host the show with me. So we have representation in 8 different countries. And so tonight we are showcasing Othman Madridi. He is from Morocco, and you might recognize him. He is usually our top fan. He's usually in the comments, talking to the guests and interacting with the other listeners. And he also does a drop for us during the commercials where he's welcoming you to the show. So tonight, I'm super excited to invite him to actually be live on camera in studio to help us with the show. So please make welcome to the show, Othman. Thank you for being here.
I'm so happy. It's a pleasure to be in your show. Yesterday, I was one from the audience. Now I'm a co-host. It's a bliss.
It's wonderful that you're here. You're like our number one fan. You have been on just about every single show since we started in January of 2019.
Yeah.
So you deserve your own badge.
Yeah, I think the Dunham Business Radio is not just a radio. I feel like I'm a part of this radio. So it's a pleasure to be with you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We consider you part of the family, and thank you so much for wanting to be a part of it. And so I couldn't think of anyone better to kind of jump on here and represent Morocco. So
it's midnight, but I feel so comfortable to be in your show.
That's great. That's great. Now, let's talk a little bit about you. Now, you're Morocco. And just talk a little bit more about what you do. And I understand you're an author, right? You wrote a book?
Yeah. My job or my work here in Morocco is a teacher. I'm an Arabic teacher. And I'm an author in the same time. I have written a book in Arabic. It's for children and teenagers. It's called Paul and Casey and the Bird of Paradise. So my message from my book, let's recap. It's for making peace in this world, living together, and be positive to the earth. Don't kill each other. Don't fight with each other. We have to live on this earth like one family or one team. So for that, I made Paul and Casey, and these are not Arabic names, just to say that I don't have any problem with other people. We are team, Paul or Othman or anyone. The most important thing is to live in peace. That's it.
That is such a great message. And in the world that we are in today, that couldn't resonate more. And
Yeah.
actually, it even lines up with our guest and what he's going to talk about. So it's great. It's really great. So do you have a cover of your book there that you can show people what your book looks like?
Well, to be honest with you, the Arabic version, this is the Arabic version.
Okay.
So, but here people can have it from the libraries. But I think to be international like your radio, I have to finish the translation to English. Then we're gonna search Amazon and to be in contact with producers maybe from Hollywood. Maybe it's gonna be the next Harry Potter.
Wow, what big dreamer. I love that. That's what we're all about, is encouraging each other's dreams. So do you have someone that's translating it for you, or do you need help with that?
Yeah, to be honest with you, if I have someone you will help me, that's be awesome. But if I don't have, I'm gonna do it by myself. It's a challenge for me, and let's see what's gonna happen.
Very good. Very good. Well, is there an email address or something that someone could reach out to you if they want a copy of your book?
Here in Morocco, I have one in Morocco, but I think when I'm gonna finish the translation in English, I'm gonna make a page in Facebook. Then we're gonna talk to you another time in your radio. Then we're gonna give it to the people. That's
great. That sounds like a great strategy. So
yeah.
For everyone listening in Morocco, if you want to reach out to Othman for his book, you can. Did I hear you say you had a copy in the library? Then go get it from the library?
Didn't just go ask libraries about, I'll give them the title and they will get it. It's not a big deal. It's
all
easy.
Right. Well, that's great. Well, congratulations on a wonderful achievement.
Thank you so much, Ellen.
Yeah. So, there's a lot of people who have dreams like that. They just never write anything down. They take the book to their grave, and you've stepped out and you've started living your dream, and you're, one step in front of the other, and that's how you get to the end. So, congratulations on taking those big steps.
Thank you so much.
So we are going to co-host together tonight, right? We're going to interview our guest. And so why don't we go ahead and get started? Are you ready?
Yeah, of course.
Awesome. Well, our guest tonight is Bobby Petrocelli. He's an enthusiastic speaker, author, educator, and coach. Stemming from a devastating tragedy in his life, he shares how he fought through the darkness and made it to triumph, how he drew upon his faith and friends, and how he came to love again. As a high school teacher and a coach, his love for the youth inspired him to take this dramatic story to audiences nationwide. He is an author of several books, including You Matter, It Doesn't, and the other book, 10 Seconds Will Change Your Life Forever. He is a motivational speaker, and he shares with people of all ages about the power of their decisions and how to build a strong foundation for their lives. He's been bringing his motivational message of hope, forgiveness, and encouragement to schools, colleges, organizations, professionals, and sports teams for more than 20 years. And now, tonight, he brings his message to all of you. Please make welcome to the show, Bobby Petrocelli. Welcome to the show. Yay. Everybody clap. Yay. Welcome to the show.
Hey, good to see you guys. I'm sorry, I'm technologically challenged, so where it said hit the video, I'm trying to hit it with my finger, but I needed to hit the thing, so we're good. We're here,
Awesome.
Excited. I'm honored to be here tonight. Hello, everybody who's joining us. You're awesome. You matter, or as we say in Brooklyn, New York, yous matter.
Use matter. Use matter.
Or in Texas, y'all matter. Y'all matter.
Yeah, down here in Texas, we say y'all matter.
Y'all matter. So
y'all matter.
I'm honored to be on the show with you guys, and thank you so much. And to everybody watching, we're honored that you joined us tonight. And I promise you that keep your eyes, your ears, and more than anything, your heart open, and allow something that's spoken to touch your heart and maybe make an impact or a change or redirect, or as I like to use the phrase, recalibrate, recalculate in somewhere where you're at. What I love to say all the time is this: if you keep on doing what you've always done, you'll keep on getting what you've always gotten. If you don't like what you're getting, you got to change what you're doing, because every decision builds patterns, habits, and routines that eventually lead to success or eventually lead to failure. And it's never too late. The difference between success and failure is the willingness to get up one more time, because we all get knocked down, but we got to be willing to get up again. So I'm honored to be here and want everybody to know how much they matter. I'm thrilled, and thank you guys so much.
Oh, thank you. I know your schedule's super busy, and you've been on the calendar for quite some time. So I'm really glad that it finally came to tonight. So why don't we jump in, Bobby? I mean, you've got an amazing message, and you're really encouraging. And I really would like the audience, who's, about 98% entrepreneurial, that listens to the show, really want to encourage them on their entrepreneurial journey tonight. But let's just start with you. Who are you, and what's a little bit of your story? How did you get into being a speaker 20 years ago?
Well, it's actually a little more than that, but I grew up in New York City. For those who are sports fans, I was a Red Sox fan in New York City. It's a miracle I lived.
Sorry, we're going to have to cut the show right now.
My Uncle Rico Petrocelli played for the Red Sox for many years. So we grew up, I wanted to be like him. I go to a school in Tulsa, Oklahoma called Oral Roberts University. I'm talking to you today because I couldn't hit the curveball. But long story short, started my senior year of college, I meet a girl from Texas, from the Houston area. Her name is Ava. I'm thinking, how in the world am I going to get along with a girl from Texas? We talk different. I say yous guys. Ava says y'all. If we ever have kids, they're going to say yous all. Well,
yous all.
We hit it off real well. I moved to Texas. I become a teacher and a coach. I'm teaching and coaching for several years. Starting my third year in the mid-1980s, this one night I travel about 90 miles away to coach in a football game. And most of the schools in our district, we had very few that were close. We're usually traveling 50, 60, 70 miles, 80, 90 miles away when we played other teams. And I get home that night. I haven't seen Ava since the morning. I say goodnight to her after eating a little food late at night. We talk about a few things, upcoming events. And literally, Lori and you guys, I wake up 1 hour later. Instead of being in my bed in my bedroom, I'm sitting in the dining room window.
What?
To make long story short, to condense it, in front of me is a pickup truck, a full-size F-150 Ford pickup truck. Mm-hmm. A drunk driver traveling at approximately 70 miles an hour coming into our development. We were the first house in the development, only in the house a little less than 2 months. We were renting it, loses control of his truck, swerves over the median, it comes up this curb, travels almost the length of a football field, through my back brick bedroom wall, runs me over. What we figure out is I was flipped up on the hood of the truck lands on Ava. I go through the next wall with the truck, end up in the dining room window. She's underneath the truck. And the sad tragedy was she suffocated. Her life was gone within what I tell people all the time, within 1 moment, within 10 seconds or less. And I tell people, we use this expression all the time, guys, that life happens one day at a time. No, it does not. That's not true. Life happens 1 moment at a time. Every moment, good, bad, right, or wrong, we're preparing for success or failure. And unless, like people say, an act of God, unless we realize one simple thing, everything that's going on in this world is because of a choice and a decision that somebody has made that has now played out, good, bad, right, or wrong. And I can honestly look in the mirror and say all of my success and all of my failures were those patterns, habits, and routines that led me down a particular path that brought me to who I am exactly at this moment in life. Every good and bad decision, no matter who I am, no matter what I've been through, no matter what business I'm part of, no matter what organization, I am who I am today because of everything that has come my way. And here's the simplicity, and everybody hear this carefully. I learn this every day. I cannot control what others do, say, how they act, react, how they treat me. I can only control how I act, react, or respond to what comes my way. And I realize more than ever, I could not allow this to define me. Here's the sad reality. More often than not, Lori, that people allow, without realizing it, their brokenness, their hurt, their wounds, their traumas to chase after them, to define them. You are not defined by what has happened to you. You are defined by your uniqueness, your one-of-a-kindness, your pricelessness. You are unique. And you know what I say very simply to people, no matter who I listen to, meet, watch, speak to? Will you be you? Because everybody else is already taken. But you know what we do? We live lives of comparison. And here's something you guys were talking about earlier. Here's the key. We are all on the team of the human race, okay? We don't all play the same position. We're not all the same ethnicity, background, gender, but we're still part of one race, the human race. And the more we realize that every one of us are unique because of our fingerprints, our genetics, our DNA, our physiological makeup, our chemistry defines who we are, makes who we are. And that makes us unique. It's amazing that not one person in the world has the same fingerprints or footprints that I have. I'm one of a kind. And the greatest tragedy in this world for everyone listening is this: when we don't live the destiny and the purpose that we have been put on this earth to live. Because you know what ends up happening? We rob the world of greatness that only we could bring to the table. So the reality was, I was not justifying anything wrong that happened to me. You mentioned forgiveness. I knew the power of forgiveness and letting go of the past, not to live in the past. The sad part is our past chases after us to define us, along with our hurt and our brokenness. Well, we drive a car because we're supposed to spend majority of our time looking out the front windshield, not living in the rear view mirror or the side mirrors, because if we do, we're going to crash and hurt ourselves or somebody else. And that's what life really is all about. But I learned in the middle of this that Bobby has a purpose. I don't want this to stop me. And there's been other little traumas and little hits and offenses or hurts that if I went down the wrong path in life, you know, I could let it define me, as destroy me or stop me. All I can do is what I have the power to do. And I believe the good Lord's created all of us for a purpose that we could bring to the table that nobody else can. And it's like this with a sports team. Not everybody plays the same position. Not everybody plays first base. And they come from different backgrounds. Every player on a baseball team, you're in the Dallas area, there's the Texas Rangers, the Dallas Cowboys. Everybody plays a different position. They could be different ethnicity, skin color, background from a different part of the country, even as our brother is from a different part of the world. But here's the kicker. We're on the same team with a different purpose. And when I woke up this morning, I didn't share this last part right now. I didn't look in the mirror and my nose started to speak and say, Bobby, I am tired of being the nose. I want to be the ear. I want to be the mouth, because your mouth never shuts up. I want to be the chin. I want to be the eye. I want to be the elbow. No, because every body part has a distinct, definitive purpose. Just like every person has a distinct, definitive purpose for the person they are in this human race. And the sooner we realize that, everybody brings something amazing to the table.
That is so inspiring. Wow. So, you know, going from tragedy to triumph, I mean, it's not an overnight process. How did you, you know, embrace the tragedy first and then take steps to find healing, forgiveness, and triumph, eventually triumph?
Well, here's one of the biggest turning points. The very first night, and I would say this, faith is important to me. I don't force my beliefs on anybody. But there's two types of faith. Faith that you have in yourself, and faith in maybe a higher power or God or whatever somebody believes. For me personally, my own personal faith was very important. And I knew about the power of forgiveness. And that very first night, I said a little prayer, good Lord, I can't even imagine what I'm about to face. But what I learned in my life is I don't want to hold on to these things, because if I don't work at forgiveness, I'm not going to be able to go forward with this. This is going to control my life. And here was the kicker to everything, Lori. People would say to me continuously back then, Bobby, they meant well. You got to take it one day at a time. And let's pretend I knew you then, Lori, and you say to me, take it one day at a time. I'd say to you, Lori, it's 6:25 in the evening. I don't even know if I'm going to make it to 6:30. What do you mean one day? And that's where I came up with the whole mindset of, let me take it moment by moment, 10 seconds at a time. Eventually, I get through a half a minute, minutes, half an hour, hours, and then eventually the day. And when people begin to understand that, so I never will use that phrase to anybody ever, take it one day at a time. No, I say, take it one moment at a time. This is all we have is this present moment. And you hear me say this now. Not only do you matter, this present moment matters. Empowering us to touch the lives of others. That's why I love this and being part of this, because I always tell people, you don't do anything great by yourself. You don't do anything boneheaded by yourself. So everybody who is touched by anything I say tonight is not because of what I'm saying, as much as you don't open the opportunity for me to say it, they never get to hear the message. Their life doesn't get touched. Their family doesn't get touched. Their business doesn't get touched, because we're part of the same team in bringing help, hope, and healing to the hurting of the world.
Wow. Amen. I mean, I'm grateful to have the platform to be able to offer it to you and other business owners, and to have that, just that gift. And it's so amazing. Othman, do you have a question for Bobby that you'd like to ask?
Well, let me say, first of all, that he is full of happiness and motivation. I feel that from another continent in Morocco. So my question is how we could change our beliefs, in your opinion, our thoughts from the bad side to the happy side or to the good side. Just what is your golden advice for me, for example?
Sure. And here's what I say to people. Every person in this world, in life, has been hurt somewhere. We've been hurt, wounded, broken. It's what I call the heart. And I'm not talking about the physical heart. I'm talking about the emotional heart, the soulical heart. That's our mind, will, and our emotions. Somewhere in our life, that gets hurt. And we go through these varying degrees of trauma and hurt and pain. The whole key is if people could learn it soon enough to realize that somebody who mistreats them, does wrong to them, treats them in the worst way possible, not that we ever condone that, never condone that. But the more I realize that if somebody's mistreating me, here's what happens. In life, everybody, no matter who they are, where they're from, wants to be loved, wants to feel value. You know what our biggest fear is? The fear of rejection, not being loved, not being included. The number one phrase people come up to me, no matter what age they are, is this. They'll say to me, "Thank you, Bobby, because before this program, I thought it was my fault that." And then they go down the list of where they were hurt. And usually the number one thing that people will share with me, especially when I work with youth, is they talk about family issues and how they were hurt in their home, or their families broke up, or they were abused, or there's problems with their parents, or their dad or mom is a drug addict or in jail, or whatever it may be. This is what kids will say to me. And the reality comes down is, no, I'm not defined by how people treat me. It's not who I am. It's what happened to me. But I have to find that confidence in my identity. There's even like this wristband I have. I want to show you this. This wristband, if you can see it, it says VIP. And then it also says you matter. Well, the VIP, I tell people, not very important person. This is my VIP. Value, identity, and purpose. When people understand how valuable they are, they understand that, wait a minute, I got an identity and a purpose that nobody else has. And I have to live and find what that identity is. Okay, what I do is what I do. Who I am is not what I do. What I do could be an extension of who I am, but I'm not defined by even what I do. I'm defined by my uniqueness, my one-of-a-kindness. So the more people get to grasp that and understand and start feeding their mind with the good stuff, things that will build them up, things that will encourage them, things that will tell them they matter, that they're important, that they're valuable, that they're priceless. And the more we, whether it's even music we listen to, whatever somebody can do in a positive way, and I'll share this last point, whatever somebody can do that is positive to build them up from having a greater faith to a faith and a belief in themselves, and that those who want to build up and support and help them, the better chance they have it when those negative things come, they let it roll off their back more often. It doesn't mean that they may not sometimes struggle with it, but the sooner they're able to work through it moment by moment, the better chance they have at working through it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You're very welcome. And thank you for your question. I'm honored. Absolutely that you're with us. Thank you.
That was a great question, Othman. That was great. Gosh, you know, I'm just, can I say that I'm just blown away, right? I mean, as a radio host, I'm supposed to have the words, and I'm kind of speechless. So, I mean,
just so you know these two things. Number one, and he does the same as I do, Ahmed. Okay, us people who talk with our hands so much. Do you know why we do? What? We spit when we talk. We try to catch the spit before it hits usually people or the screen that we're looking at. And so they know too, you see me wearing 2 crosses. I promise you, just because I'm wearing 2 crosses, I won't double cross you, just so you know that. You gotta have some fun with it.
You know, this is the home of the corny joke right here.
Absolutely.
I see a corny joke just about every week.
Exactly. Totally.
Yeah, just about every week we say a corny joke around here, and usually it's me, but thank you for taking that on tonight. It's a great.
I helped you out a little bit, Lori. Quite a bit.
So listen, we're going to jump over to commercials real quick, but when we come back, I want to talk more about your book and where you're going to be speaking and anything else you want to share. I mean, your story is so amazing. It's motivational, just like I dreamed it would be. So thank you for what you're doing. And
I'm honored. I'm looking forward to more. Absolutely.
Yeah. So we're going to do that, and we'll be back right after this. And we are back. So, thank you so much for being here tonight. It's just a great night. We have in the house Othman Madridi. He is from Morocco, and he is our guest co-host as part of the International Summer with Dunham Business Radio. So super excited that he is here. And we also have in-house our featured guest of the evening, Bobby Petrocelli. He's from New York. He's a motivational speaker, and it's an amazing story. So let's bring him back on. I want to talk to him real quick about some of the things that we're hearing during the commercials. So Bobby, are you there?
Oh, good. Thank you. I told you I'm technologically challenged, so it's good. But no, I'm loving this, and I love you guys and appreciate you guys because I know we're helping. And I wanted to continue with something that we were talking about, Lori, so the school that I was at when Ava was killed was a high school in South Texas called Santa Fe High School. The sad reality is 2 years ago, they went through a school shooting. I've been back to the school 6 times speaking since. But long story short, the day I buried my wife, a church that normally seated 500 people had over 2,000 people there. I go from the church to downtown Houston to the cemetery. The cemetery is packed with students and family and friends. Literally almost every student from Santa Fe High School, every teacher, every coach was there for me. And basically they showed me the very simple thing as I talk about in my book. You matter, it doesn't. Coach, you matter. Coach, you matter. It doesn't define you. It doesn't matter as much like you matter. And we're here to let you know how much you matter. So literally those students who over 30 years later, when I went through that tragedy, I still have a relationship with them. I still talk to them. I still meet them on social media. When I go back to Texas, I catch up with them, hang out and go to dinner. They're still some of the most special people in my life, those students and those teachers and those people that I've worked with back then over 30 years ago. It's amazing that I'm doing what I'm doing today, and they had a very special part in that. For the day, like I said, I'm burying my wife, I'm looking in the cemetery on a school day, and it's packed. almost 2,000 people, and 2/3 of them were the students, the teachers, the coaches, the counselors, the administration, other than the principal, because it was a school day, and their family members. It was amazing. And it's a sight I could never forget seeing of how they encouraged me to show me how much I mattered. And I'm so honored. And then the friends that flew in from around the country, there's no way without the help of God and the help of others could Bobby Petrocelli have worked through this and made it to bring me to this point.
Absolutely. And, sometimes we go through tragedy or tragic times in our lives and we think to ourselves, oh, it's grief that I have to deal with. I'm going to isolate. I'm going to just put myself in a box. And I think that really just slows down our progress. And when we really acknowledge that we need help, either from our God or from our family, friends, neighbors, whoever, that only helps us to improve and get further on down the road a little bit quicker than if we just tried to do it on our own. And, that message is so important, especially in this day and time with quarantine and restrictions and, uncertainty and anxiety, and I've seen it that people still connect, and thank God for Zoom, right? Zoom didn't exist years ago, and so it was created for such a time as this. And so people are still able to connect.
Well, just like the Santa Fe situation in May 18th, and I don't like the word anniversary, but it was 2 years ago this past May, last month, where this tragedy happened. Well, I was coming back to Santa Fe to spend time in the community, at the school, speaking again. They asked me to come back. I was honored, but because everything was shut down, I ended up doing a video presentation, which the kids got to watch and look at and spend time doing that. So it was neat that, like you said, at least we could find another option and venue or avenue to try to reach people in the middle of this. But, everybody's hurting throughout the COVID, throughout what took place, in Minnesota and other parts of this country. People are hurting. People are hurting. People have been wounded. And the key is that I always tell people, one of my favorite songs in the world was by Michael Jackson. And Michael Jackson, to me, I ask people all the time, what Michael Jackson's greatest song? And they come up with Thriller and Beat It and other songs. I said, to me personally, the greatest song Michael Jackson ever sang was I'm Looking at the Man in the Mirror.
Amen to that.
Before I point fingers and blame others, I have to ask myself a question. Have I done everything on my part to make my situation better? Have I done everything on my part to move through this? Have I done everything on my part to become better? So even the man who crashed through my house was a drunk driver. I tell people drinking and driving didn't kill Ava. And they're like, what? I said, it had a partner death. Remember this, before a person can drive drunk, they got to be drunk in the first place. Why? We're not talking about an adult enjoying an alcoholic beverage. We're talking about he had a blood alcohol level of almost 0.20, which was at the time double illegally drunk. Well, what are you doing? Why are you abusing it? And I'm not saying this even in a judgmental way. I'm saying it in this. When we don't deal with our pain and don't deal with our hurt that tells us we don't matter, we're not good enough, we don't measure up, we're not lovable enough, then guess what we do? We run to whatever we could at that moment to anesthetize the pain. So whether it's verbal abuse, physical abuse, there's people who have abused others sexually, whether there's drug abuse, alcohol abuse, any form of codependency, addiction, or abuse, to me, I don't judge anybody, has its ties in hurt, pain, trauma, brokenness that was never completely healed. And that became the anesthetizing of their pain. They chose that. Everybody may choose something different, but they happen to choose that thing to try to heal the pain. And my goal above all else is to tell people how much they matter. Tell them how important they are. And that, like I said earlier, that's one of the greatest compliments I love. And I always tell businesses, one of the biggest things when I do corporations and businesses, one of my favorite groups of people to speak to. The reason why those kids at Santa Fe and the teachers and those responded to me was I always had in the back of my mind, how can I make somebody feel valuable? How can I make them feel important? And I always say this, it's not even how they feel about me. It's how they feel about themselves when they're in my presence. So anybody who's in business, here's the vital key, okay? the person's going to remember more than anything else. If you're trying to sell them something or bring something to them or get them to participate in what you're about, the key is this: do not worry about how they feel about you. Be concerned with how they feel about themselves when they're with you, or they're in contact with you, or they're connected to you. Do they feel important? Are they more than just a dollar sign? Are they more than just a statistic? Are they more than just a client? Are they a person that they could literally walk away from you knowing, hey, Lori really made me feel important, and I feel valued and loved. I feel I count. I feel I have some importance. And this thing that I'm looking at getting involved in or buying will not only help them, but it's going to make my life, my family, my career, my business grow better. So that's the simplicity. I always try to remember that. Am I perfect at that? Absolutely not. And I get in trouble when my own insecurity or feelings of inferiority or inadequacy may kick in once in a while. I got to believe majority of the time I'm doing the right thing, but I'm not always. And when those fears try to creep in, or that insecurity creeps in, or that panic or that chaos, that's why even in this whole pandemic situation, I've encouraged so many people to say, listen, we can be wise, we can be smart, we can do what's proper to make sure that we're safe for us and others, but don't allow panic, fear, anxiety, worry, and chaos. Because here's a simple last thing I want to say on this whole part is this. What helps me to do the best I can is I ask myself this question. Right now, if I'm filled with worry, fear, anxiety, chaos, or panic, is it making my situation, my life, my circumstances any better by focusing on panic, fear, chaos, worry, insecurity, inadequacy, inferiority? Is it making it better? And the more I slow down enough, I think, no, it's not. So why am I giving credence to something that is going to build patterns, habits, and routines of defeat, of failure, of all those other things, and it's not going to allow me the chance to move in who I'm supposed to be? So I'm just telling you, that's when I do the best. Do I do it all the time? Absolutely not. Do I do it most of the time? Yes, but I don't do it all the time. And when I don't do it, I get myself in trouble and find my mind wandering and getting caught up in feelings and emotions that's not making the circumstances, situation, or myself any better.
That's absolutely, you couldn't be any more truer than that right there. So let's talk a little bit about practical things we can do, right? We talked about reaching out to other people, and but when you're going through that journey from tragedy to triumph, or even, maybe it doesn't have to be a tragedy, maybe you're just looking for that next level of success in your business. What are some practical things that people can do? Is meditation a good good place to start? What are some things that you did that were practical?
Well, here's something right away, and then I'm going to get into that more. I always say this. There's patterns, habits, and routines, and there's a trail that leads to success and failure. If I'm seeing somebody else that has succeeded at, say, something I'm interested in, then there's two things I need to ask them or find out. What are they doing that I'm not doing? And what do they know that I don't know? And then I need to apply those things to my life that got them through that. So all of a sudden, what I started to do through my tragedy, and this could apply to business, sports, athletics, academia, everything. Find out people who have been successful in something you're interested in. Find out what they did, how they got through it, got to that place, and understand this. There's patterns, habits, and routines that lead to success. They're not better than me. They're not a greater person than me. There's nobody better than anybody else. There's just those who are willing to make certain choices to go in certain directions. So the more I focused on that and encourage others to focus on that, then I start putting those things into practice. I have a better chance of succeeding. So when I went through the tragedy, I started to find out what were things that people who went through their own tragedies, own losses, own pain, own offenses, own brokenness, how did they get through it? And I thought, wait a minute, they're not better than me. I'm not better than them. If they could get through it, I could get through it. Let me follow some of those things that they're doing. And to me, It was because faith is important to me. It was being quiet and meditating. It was 1 second I'm crying hysterical. The next second I'm watching old reruns of the Three Stooges falling on the floor laughing hysterical. I learned one thing. The good book even says a merry heart, laughter, joy brings medicine to my soul, to my life. Right. And I tell people, whatever is beneficial, what may work for Lori may not work for me. But here's the key. If it works for you and it's not hurting you or anybody else, run with it wholeheartedly. If it's hurting you, then we want to keep you away from that, like I shared earlier, those codependencies or addictions or behaviors that are not making you better or your situation better. But, you know, whatever works, and I always tell people there's not one way to get through something. There's different things you can choose. You find what works. For me, then I would find days where I just lay on the floor and listen to music. And then all of a sudden I may listen to music and just uplifting and wonderful music. The next second I'm crying hysterical, you know. Then the next second I'm watching comedy and I'm laughing. And before I knew it, all of a sudden, hey, wait a minute. I didn't know how I was going to get through that moment. I just got through the last 3 hours because I wasn't having my attention focused on that as much.
Yeah.
So whatever it takes.
I think that's really good. And as you become to a point of more and more healing, you can identify your dreams again. So Othman, you had a question for him about dreams and following your dreams after tragedy?
Yeah. Do you think, Mr. Bobby, that our dreams are a reflection of what's of something deeper inside us?
Are you talking about dreams of what you're seeking or dreams like when you go to sleep at night?
No, dream that I'm gonna achieve in the future.
I believe when you have those dreams, those are things that are pertinent to you and to your uniqueness that, once again, you're the only person who can bring that to the table. I can't. You know, I'm not better than you. You're not better than me. We're both so vital and important. You know, when I even travel, and those who are even helping to make this happen, you, Lori, everybody who makes this happen, no matter where they fall and whatever level they're at, they're just as important. I'll go sometimes to do stuff with corporations or sports teams. I'll go into the bathroom and I'll see the janitor cleaning up the bathroom and I'll look them in the face and I'll say, you know what? You are just as important as the CEO of this building. I am telling you. Why? Because you're helping to make this a clean environment that can give me a better attitude. I'm not walking in and everything's disgusting or dirty and filthy, and then I'm walking out of the bathroom with a really bad attitude or I'm ticked off because I keep on focusing on that. But you're working to make the whole team and the whole group work together. That's like I shared earlier. The nose is not the eye, is not the ear, is not the mouth. Every body part has its function. Well, once again, as I said, we're all part of the human race. If you're a particular business, you're all part of the team, but everybody's playing a different position and having a different responsibility to make it work and to make it successful. And every person has importance to make it work and happen. Not everybody could be the mouth. Not everybody could be the eye. Not everybody could be the ear. We all have that importance. So I realize that for all of us. So those dreams, go after that dream. Try it. I think the biggest regret that people have when they get older is not even the wrong things they did. They regret what they never tried to do because you can't go back and do something at certain points in your life because you're too old or you don't have the ability or the strength to do those things. So that's why I say to people, try it. I tell my family, my sons, knock on the door. If nobody answers, you didn't lose out on anything. You're in no worse situation. Make the phone call. And if somebody doesn't answer, what did you lose out on? You know, and if somebody told you no, well, you're no different than where you were when you first made the phone call or first knocked on the door.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Hey, Bobby, I want to tell you about some of the, and one particular comment that came through. Give a shout out to Darcy. Thank you for listening tonight. This is really exciting. And she had texted me personally that tonight was a message that she was supposed to hear. Bobby is awesome. He mentioned the book that she's supposed to be writing. So you've already encouraged her to take that right out of her heart and put it on a paper. And
Absolutely.
Darcy and I are in kind of a group where we talk about goals and vision boards. And she says, everything that he's saying is lining up with our vision board and our patterns, habits, and routines that we do, and how each of us are responsible and how we act, react, and respond. Awesome show. And it absolutely has been amazing to have you here and to really encourage everybody. And Darcy, thank you for typing that in. And I'm super excited that you're here and you're enjoying the show. So number of people have joined in online, but listen, it's not too late for you. If you have a question or a comment, go ahead and drop it in on Facebook, because Bobby's going to be monitoring our feed for the next day or two. And he'll be happy to answer any questions that come up that he's not able to answer tonight in the show. And can you believe, Bobby, it's been an hour already. I mean, just flies right by. So
I'm honored to be with you guys. And for those who want to seek me out, I'm on all forms of social media. I may not be real good at it, but I'm still on it. They can get my books. They can get wristbands. And let me say this quickly, please, to everybody. If you get a book and wristband, I take all the proceeds from them. And for the last 14 years, I've been part of an organization that we have rescued 150,000 kids sold in human and sex trafficking in America and around the world, because we want everybody to know they matter. So let them know that wristbands, books, that's where I take that money, and that's where we go and rescue those kids. And it's an honor to be part of this organization based out of Dallas called Life Today. That's Life Outreach. They've been doing it for 14 years, and it's been amazing. They do other things, but that's the one part that I get behind, because I love helping to rescue kids in that area.
Absolutely. Amen to that. Where can they buy the wristbands and books? Is it the
I have my website, 10seconds.org. 10 seconds, that's 10seconds.org, or bobbypetrocelli.com, and they'll be shipped out. We'll sign the book to them, whatever they'd like. Have them go there and check it out. We'd love to do it and help them out.
That is really awesome. Bobby, I can't thank you enough. Thank you so much. Othman, do you have anything else you want to ask Bobby before we sign off?
If I want to ask him about, do you have any page in Facebook?
Yes, I'm on Facebook. That's where probably I go more than anything. Facebook and Instagram personally. I do a little on Twitter, but yes, I am on Facebook. They can find Bobby Petrocelli on Facebook and check it out. And drop me a message, a note. And I do all I can to respond. And I tell people, if you don't get a response right away, I promise you, there's been a whole bunch of other people ahead of you that I'm going to get to you. I promise I will respond.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Bobby.
Thank you, my friend. It's a pleasure to work with you tonight, and I'm proud of what you're doing. And go Morocco.
Yeah, I hope that one day you come here to Morocco to give us.
Yes, absolutely. We'd love to.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much.
Thank you, my friend.
That's awesome. Well, Othman, thank you so much for co-hosting tonight. I hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you so much.
Time, so I hope you come back and do it again.
Yeah, of course. It's a pleasure.
And Bobby, once again, I'm completely honored. Thank you so much for taking the time. Really appreciate it. And if there's anything that Dunham Business Radio can do for you to get your word out, maybe in the future you can come back on and do it again. I'd love to host you.
I'm honored, and thank you, Lori, and to everybody who makes this happen. I'm honored to be part of it. And remember these words: use matter.
Y'all's matter.
Y'all matter.
Yeah.
Wonderful. All right. Well, thank you all so much, Bobby and Othman. Just stay online there. We're going to say goodbye to everybody in Facebook land. And thank you so much. Please share this video as soon as it's published. This is a message that is just so important to get out to everybody, especially in this day and time. And even if we were all peaceful, we still need to know that we all matter. So please just share this video, get the word out there, support Bobby at www.10seconds.org, and hit him up on Facebook, Instagram, Bobby Petrocelli. And until next week, stay on top of the world, everybody.
Thanks for listening to the Dunham Business Radio Show. Be sure to follow us at Dunham Business Radio and check out DunhamBusinessRadio.com for more info.
I'm on top of the world, now I'm living, and the good just gets better, keeps on giving. Not even close to the end, it's just beginning.